Today we're diving into Ray Dalio's big move as he exits Bridgewater,
That's
leaving
huge.
behind decades of legacy.
Exactly. It's like saying farewell to a founding giant of finance.
Right, yeah. Dalio sold his final Bridgewater stake, and even though he's been out of the day to day for a while, this is really symbolic for the firm's
Yeah,
future.
definitely. And his departure comes with a strong economic warning, right?
Correct. He's warning about an impending debt crisis, predicting, well, something even worse than a recession.
That's intense. So, how does that tie in with his new asset allocation advice?
Good question. Dalio's increased his recommended allocation for both Bitcoin and gold to 15%. It's a significant jump from his previous 2%, which really shows his shift in outlook.
Right, that's a substantial increase. He's calling Bitcoin one hell of an invention, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, but he still says he prefers gold over Bitcoin, despite owning some Bitcoin himself. It's interesting how he balances his view on both.
Intriguing. It's a bit like hedging your bets, right? Diversifying options in turbulent times.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, I'm preparing for some rough economic weather by spreading my risk. And considering his history predicting crises, his words carry weight. Although, of course, not everyone agrees.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of his predictions, didn't he predict a global debt crisis for late 2024?
Yes, that's right. He's forecasting a scenario where countries, especially the US, might face an economic heart attack if the budget deficit isn't curtailed to, I think, around 3% of GDP.
Yeah, that sounds alarming. But isn't that a bit dramatic, given some of his past economic forecast misfires?
You know, that's a fair point. Dalio's reputation as a market oracle was cemented after his 2008 crisis prediction. However, later predictions, like in 1982, didn't pan out and even led to significant losses for Bridgewater.
True, there's a mix of success and notable missteps. So, would you say that his track record makes his current predictions a bit questionable?
I mean, while his warnings are based on sound observations like increasing debt loads and deglobalization, there's the risk of overgeneralization.
Right, that's a valid critique. Exactly. It seems some critics argue his forecasts suffer from confirmation bias and lack clear timelines.
Absolutely, and that's why, despite his brilliant insights, there's always a debate around how accurate his economic predictions really are.
That debate is definitely ongoing. Now, coming back to his Bridgewater exit, what impact do you think his farewell has on the firm itself?
Well, it signifies a generational handover. Dalio mentioned he loved seeing Bridgewater alive and well without me. It's like handing off the baton to a new team, but with the weight of his legacy still looming large.
Yeah, that imagery really hits home. And Bridgewater has taken on a new stake investment from Brunei's sovereign wealth fund, right?
Yes, exactly. The firm issued new shares in a multi-billion-dollar deal, resulting in almost a 20% stake being held by Brunei. It's a massive shift in their ownership structure.
Wow, that's a major move indeed. So essentially, Dalio is stepping away, but the firm is evolving.
Yeah, it's like a major transition phase. Dalio is both celebrating his past successes and warning about the future, which is particularly intriguing, especially with his emphasis on alternative assets like
Absolutely.
Bitcoin and
Seems
gold.
like a smart mix of honoring tradition and embracing innovation. I find it quite fascinating how he intertwines his personal legacy with his economic warnings. Doesn't it add another layer to his persona as an investor?
Definitely, it's almost poetic. On one hand, there's his farewell to Bridgewater, a symbol of his long journey since 1975, and on the other, there's this urgent call to adjust portfolios amid escalating economic risks.
Very nuanced. And his backing on Bitcoin is especially interesting, considering it's still a relatively new asset in the eyes of many traditional investors.
Yeah, he's essentially elevating Bitcoin to a level of strategic importance that suggests it could serve as a long duration option for an uncertain future.
Yep, that's quite a forward thinking stance. Yet, there's still that apparent contradiction because he has always been more partial to gold.
Right, it's like he's hedging his bets again, ensuring stability with gold while also taking a calculated risk with Bitcoin.
Smart diversification for turbulent times. Perhaps it's reflective of his broader view that traditional safe havens need a modern twist given the global economic landscape.
Exactly. And his warnings about the US debt and potential devaluation of the currency are parts of that modern twist. He sees lowering rates and devaluing currency as inevitable when, debt overload hits.
Yeah, that linkage is logical, albeit risky. But then, despite all these warnings, some critics say his approach is too alarmist, don't you think?
Sure, I see that. It's a balancing act. While his past forecasting mistakes cannot be ignored, his insights also come from decades of analyzing economic cycles.
I get that. And it's fair to question whether these predictions will be as accurate this time around.
Precisely, and that's where the debate intensifies. Investors are now tasked with um, weighing Dalio's insights against historical inaccuracies.
Right, that's a tough call for many. So, in summary, Dalio's exit is both an end of a legacy chapter at Bridgewater and a bold statement on future economic strategies.
Exactly. His departure symbolizes both a personal farewell and a clarion call for investors to um, rethink their strategies, especially with alternative assets like Bitcoin and gold on the table in these risky times.
That wraps it up quite nicely.